Today I will present a lecture on metabolic liver diseases, which is an important hepatobiliary pathology. Metabolic liver diseases can be of acquired or inherited type. The most common acquired type of metabolic liver diseases are non-alcoholic fatty liver diseases. Other important metabolic liver diseases are hemochromatosis, Wilson disease, and alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. And these three are mostly inherited types. Hemochromatosis can be acquired type also, or it can be inherited type also. Wilson disease and alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, these both are only inherited types of metabolic liver diseases. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is an acquired type of metabolic liver disease, is very important nowadays as the obesity epidemic is there. Obesity is prevalent in the population. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, as the name suggests, it is fatty liver disease without consumption of alcohol. So steatosis without alcohol consumption, or alcohol consumption in very less amount. It is a spectrum of disorders that have in common the presence of steatosis. Steatosis is fatty liver. Steatosis in individuals who do not consume alcohol or do so in very small quantities, less than 20 gram of ethanol per week. So without consumption of alcohol or very small amount of alcohol and presence of steatosis. Non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, or its common acronym NASH, is often used to denote overt clinical features of liver injury, such as elevated serum transaminases, but the designation NAFLD is preferred. With steatohepatitis is reserved for histologic features of hepatocyte injury, which is there in alcoholic liver disease. So steatohepatitis is reserved for the histologic appearance or biopsy appearance of inflammation and steatosis in liver, and the term non-alcoholic liver disease is preferred. Just like alcoholic hepatitis or alcoholic liver disease, the non-alcoholic liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease also have the same morphology. It progresses from steatosis. The first stage is steatosis or fatty liver. Second stage is steatohepatitis, fatty liver with inflammation, and the third stage is steatofibrosis, means cirrhosis. So steatosis, steatohepatitis, and steatofibrosis. These are the three stages in fatty liver disease and non-alcoholic, means alcoholic fatty liver disease and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. These three stages are there in any type of fatty liver disease, whether it is alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Metabolic syndrome is a cause of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So for stemming metabolic syndrome, there is a WHO criteria. So what is it? It is one of either diabetes mellitus or impaired glucose tolerance or impaired fasting glucose or insulin resistance. One of these four: diabetes mellitus, impaired glucose tolerance, impaired fasting glucose, and insulin resistance. One of these four. And two of blood pressure more than or equal to 140/90, dyslipidemia, central obesity, and microalbuminuria. Two of blood pressure more than or equal to 140/90, dyslipidemia, central obesity, and microalbuminuria. So these are WHO criteria for diagnosing metabolic syndrome. One of these symptoms, glucose related symptoms and glucose related pathology, or two of these four different things. Histologic hallmarks of NAFLD are most consistently associated with the metabolic syndrome. Now the pathogenesis of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It suggests a two-hit model for NAFLD. First hit is insulin resistance that gives rise to hepatic steatosis, and second hit, hepatocellular oxidative injury resulting in liver cell necrosis and inflammatory reactions to the oxidative injury. So these two things, this two-hit model is suggested for the pathogenesis of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the hepatic steatosis is associated with the causes. The causes of hepatic steatosis are almost the same like the causes of obesity, like overabundance of calorie-rich food, reduced exercise, genetic susceptibility, consumption of fast food, less exercise, high fructose corn syrup. Nowadays, sweetener present in all the manufactured ready-to-eat foods also appears to promote insulin resistance. Morphology of NAFLD. Pathologic steatosis is defined as involving more than 5% of the hepatocytes. So more than 5% of the hepatocytes are involved with fat deposition inside the cytoplasm of hepatocytes. Non-alcoholic steatohepatitis almost completely overlaps on in its histologic features with the alcoholic hepatitis. So histologically or histopathologically, non-alcoholic and alcoholic forms are similar. We cannot differentiate between non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and fatty liver disease just by histology. And greater than 90% of the previously described cryptogenic cirrhosis, that means cirrhosis of unknown cause, previously described cryptogenic cirrhosis is now thought to represent non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Pediatric non-alcoholic fatty liver disease differs significantly from that seen in the adults. Children show more diffuse steatosis, portal type of fibrosis, and portal and parenchymal mononuclear infiltration. Clinical features of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So in almost 90% of the cases, serum AST and serum ALT are elevated. AST is SGOT and ALT is SGPT. Previously they are known as SGOT and SGPT. Liver biopsy is indicative of the underlying pathology like steatosis, steatohepatitis or steatofibrosis. Imaging studies may reveal the fat accumulation inside the liver. We have to exclude the other causes of hepatic injury before stemming non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Insulin resistance is also there. So impaired glucose tolerance, impaired fasting glucose is also there in the patients of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the goal of treatment of NAFLD is to reverse the steatosis and prevention of steatofibrosis, that means cirrhosis, by correcting the underlying risk factors like obesity, hyperlipidemia, and by treating insulin resistance. Non-alcoholic steatohepatitis also increases the risk of hepatocellular carcinoma. So steatosis, steatohepatitis and steatofibrosis are three stages of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Hepatocyte ballooning, Mallory dank bodies and neutrophilic infiltration are often seen. Now the second important type of metabolic liver disease is hemochromatosis, which can be inherited type or acquired type. It is caused by excessive iron absorption and the deposition of this excess iron in liver, pancreas, heart, joints and different endocrine organs. Parenteral administration of iron or multiple blood transfusion can result in secondary or acquired type of excessive iron deposition, secondary hemochromatosis. Total body iron pool in our body ranges from 2 to 6 gram in normal adults, normal healthy adults, and about 0.5 gram of total iron from 2 to 6 gram is there in liver. 0.5 gram is present in liver, and the 98% of this 0.5 gram is inside the hepatocytes. In most severe forms of hemochromatosis, the total body iron pool is more than 50 gram. Fully developed cases of hemochromatosis exhibit micronodular cirrhosis in 100% of the cases, diabetes mellitus in 80% of the cases, and abnormal skin pigmentation in 80% of the cases. Iron deposition is a lifelong process in hereditary forms of hemochromatosis, but the symptoms usually first appear in the 4th to 5th decades of life in men and later in women. Because the menstrual bleeding in females counterbalances the accumulation until the menopause. So the features or symptoms appears earlier in males. Male to female ratio is 5 to 7 Gem 1. So males are mostly affected because females do not accumulate clinically relevant amounts of the iron during their lifetime. Pathogenesis, there is no regulated iron excretion from the body, so there is excessive iron absorption in hemochromatosis. Classification of iron overload, it could be hereditary or secondary. The secondary causes of iron overload are parental iron overload, multiple transfusion, hemodialysis, aplastic anemia, different anemias by ineffective erythropoiesis, increased oral intake, congenital atransferrinemia, chronic liver disease, alcoholic liver disease, or neonatal hemochromatosis. Hepcidin regulates the iron absorption from the gut. Deficiency in hepcidin causes iron overload. Actually, hepcidin is responsible for lowering the plasma iron levels. Morphologically, there is deposition of hemosiderin in decreasing order of severity to liver, pancreas, myocardium, pituitary gland, adrenal gland, thyroid and parathyroid organs, joints and skin. Second thing is hepatic cirrhosis, development of hepatic cirrhosis, and third is pancreatic fibrosis. Iron is direct hepatotoxin, so excess iron accumulation causes inflammation and destruction of the hepatocytes. Biochemical determination of hepatic tissue iron concentration is the gold standard for quantitating hepatic iron content. So hepatic tissue biopsy and iron concentration inside the hepatic tissue, determination of iron content of hepatic tissue is actually a gold standard. Gold standard method for diagnosing hemochromatosis. Normally, there is less than 1000 microgram per gram weight of liver, and in hemochromatosis, the iron content is more than 10,000 microgram per gram dry weight of liver. That is the difference. But nowadays, with newly available genetic testing, quantitative assessment of tissue iron content is no longer necessary. Pancreas also becomes intensely pigmented, diffuse interstitial fibrosis is there, and the heart is enlarged and hemosiderin granules in the myocardium. Skin pigmentation is also there. Joints, deposition of hemosiderin in the joints leads to acute synovitis or pseudo gout may be formed. Deposition of iron in the testis leads to smaller and atrophic testes. So clinical features: hepatomegaly, abdominal pain, abnormal skin pigmentation, diabetes mellitus, cardiac dysfunction, and atypical arthritis. The classic tetrad of hemochromatosis is seen only in the advanced cases, that is cirrhosis with hepatomegaly, abnormal skin pigmentation, diabetes mellitus, and cardiac dysfunction. Significant cause of death in hemochromatosis is hepatocellular carcinoma, and the risk of hepatocellular carcinoma is 200-fold higher than that of the general population. The screening of hemochromatosis involves demonstration of very high levels of serum iron and ferritin, and the exclusion of other causes of iron overload, and liver biopsy. The treatment of hemochromatosis is regular phlebotomy, regular removal of excessive iron. So that is by just removal of 500 or 450 ml of blood from the body. That means phlebotomy. That depletes the tissue iron stores, and with treatment the life expectancy is almost normal. Neonatal hemochromatosis or congenital hemochromatosis is disease of unknown origin manifested by severe liver disease and extrahepatic hemosiderin deposition. Neonatal hemochromatosis is actually not an inherited disease. Extrahepatic hemosiderin deposition like buccal hemosiderin deposition is detected by buccal biopsy. That needs to be documented for the correct diagnosis of neonatal hemochromatosis. The most common causes of secondary or acquired type of hemochromatosis are disorders associated with ineffective erythropoiesis like severe forms of thalassemia and myelodysplastic syndromes. So these ineffective erythropoiesis leads to excess iron absorption from the gut, and also there are multiple transfusion because hemoglobin is lower in these cases. There is anemia because of ineffective erythropoiesis. So multiple blood transfusion is there, and also there is excessive iron absorption from the gut. So this vicious cycle leads to excess iron deposition in the visceral organs. Third important type of metabolic liver disease, which is inherited type of metabolic liver disease, is Wilson disease. Wilson disease is an autosomal recessive disorder. It is caused by ATP7B gene mutation. There is impaired copper excretion into the bile and failure to incorporate copper into the ceruloplasmin. So these two mechanisms leads to excessive copper deposition. One is impaired copper excretion into the bile. Second is failure to incorporate copper into ceruloplasmin. The toxic levels of copper is deposited in many tissues, principally liver, brain, and eye. Normally about 40 to 60% of ingested copper is absorbed. So that means 2 to 5 milligram of copper is absorbed per day. Total body copper is 50 to 150 milligram. Pathogenesis is caused by mutation in the ATP7B gene. There are more than 300 mutations identified in the ATP7B gene. Compound heterozygote type of mutations are the most common. Compound heterozygous types of population are the most common types of population in Wilson disease. Copper causes toxic injury by three mechanisms. Number 1, promoting the formation of free radicals by the Fenton reaction. Number 2, binding to sulfhydryl groups of cellular proteins. And number 3, displacing other metals from hepatic metalloenzymes. Morphology of Wilson disease. Liver is most often involved. Sometimes the disease may present as a neurologic disorder, and also the hepatic changes are variable, mild to moderate changes, and may mimic other disease processes. Fatty change or steatosis is there in mild to moderate cases. Acute fulminant hepatitis can mimic the acute viral hepatitis. Chronic hepatitis in Wilson disease exhibits moderate to severe inflammation and hepatocyte necrosis, and fatty change and features of steatohepatitis, and eventually cirrhosis. So just like the other diseases, there is progression from steatosis to steatohepatitis and steatofibrosis. These are the special stains for copper. Number 1, rhodamine stain for demonstration of copper in the histology, and porcine stain for copper associated proteins. These two are special stains for copper. Demonstration of hepatic copper content in excess of 250 microgram per gram dry weight of liver is most helpful for making a diagnosis. Neurological injury of copper is by toxic injury of copper to brain basal ganglia and putamen. All patients with neurological involvement also develop eye lesions called Kayser-Fleisner rings. It is green to brown deposition of copper in the descendant membrane of limbus of the cornea. So Kayser-Fleisner ring is typical presentation of Wilson disease. It is a typical eye lesion. Clinical features of Wilson disease. The average age of clinical presentation and onset of disease is 11.4 years. It may manifest between 6 to 40 years of age. Initial presentation may be acute or chronic liver diseases, and later neurologic involvement is there. Neurologic involvement presents with movement disorders like tremors, poor coordination, rigid dystonia. The biochemical diagnosis of Wilson disease is based on a decrease in the serum ceruloplasmin level, increase in the hepatic copper content. Hepatic copper content is the most sensitive and accurate test for diagnosing Wilson disease. Increase the urinary excretion of copper is the most specific screening test for diagnosing Wilson disease. So the diagnosis of Wilson disease is by first, number 1, decrease in the serum ceruloplasmin. Number 2, increase in the hepatic copper content, which is most sensitive test. Number 3, increased urinary excretion of copper, which is most specific screening test. Demonstration of Kayser-Fleisner rings further favors the diagnosis of Wilson disease. Copper chelation therapy with D-penicillamine or trientine or zinc-based therapy are helpful in to reduce the progression of the disease. Next important metabolic liver disease is alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, which is inherited type of metabolic liver disease. It is an autosomal recessive disorder. It is a disorder of protein folding marked by very low levels of circulating alpha-1 antitrypsin. The major function of alpha-1 antitrypsin is the inhibition of proteases, particularly neutrophil elastase. Other proteases like cathepsin gene and proteinase 3. These proteinases are released from the neutrophils at the sites of inflammation. And alpha-1 antitrypsin is responsible for inhibition of these proteases at the sites of inflammation. Now, this deficiency of alpha-1 antitrypsin leads to development of pulmonary emphysema because excessive proteases destroys the lung parenchyma. It also causes liver disease as a consequence of hepatocellular accumulation of the misfolded protein, misfolded alpha-1 antitrypsin. Alpha-1 antitrypsin is actually a small 394 amino acid plasma glycoprotein synthesized predominantly by the hepatocytes. And the most significant mutation of alpha-1 antitrypsin disease is PiZ, in which the homozygote form of PiZZ protein have circulating alpha-1 antitrypsin levels less than 10% of the normal level. So the most significant mutation is PiZ type. Pathogenesis: Wilson disease is a genetic or inherited type of disease. The mutant polypeptide alpha-1 antitrypsin Z is abnormally folded and polymerized, creating endoplasmic reticulum stress and triggering unfolded protein response, a signaling cascade that may lead to apoptosis. Individuals with the PiZZ phenotype, PiZZ genotype accumulate alpha-1 antitrypsin Z in the endoplasmic reticulum of hepatocytes, and only 10 to 15% of PiZZ individuals develop overt clinical features, overt clinical liver disease. So other genetic factors are also responsible for development of liver disease in Wilson disease. Morphologically, there is round to oval cytoplasmic globular inclusions. Presence of round to oval cytoplasmic globular inclusions in hepatocytes in patients of Wilson disease. And these round to oval globular inclusions are stained with routine hematoxylin and eosin, and also stained with periodic acid SCIF pass. They are pass positive and diastase resistant. So pass with diastase is very much helpful for demonstration of these cytoplasmic globular inclusions. Periportal hepatocytes are initially involved, and in later stages the central hepatocytes also involved by these globular inclusions. Clinical features: neonatal hepatitis with cholestatic jaundice in 10 to 20% of the patients. In adolescents, the presenting symptoms may be related to the hepatitis, cirrhosis, or pulmonary disease. The treatment of the Wilson disease is orthotopic liver transplantation for severe hepatic diseases, and in the patients with pulmonary disease, the most important preventive measure is avoidance of the cigarette smoking, because cigarette smoking markedly accelerates the emphysema formation and destruction of the lung parenchyma. So alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency with cigarette smoking leads to marked emphysema and marked destruction of the lung parenchyma. So prevention or avoidance of cigarette smoking is very much important for prevention or treatment purpose. So inherited metabolic liver diseases are hereditary hemochromatosis, Wilson disease, and alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. Hereditary hemochromatosis is caused by the mutation in the HFE gene, so that is responsible for hepcidin, and increased iron uptake. Epsilon is reduced in the level and iron is absorbed by the gut. Excessive iron is absorbed. Wilson disease is caused by mutation in the ATP7B gene. Alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency is a disease of protein misfolding. And the Z variant of alpha-1 antitrypsin is the most likely to impair the secretion of hepatocytes, secretion by the hepatocyte, and cause the disease. The main consequences of these diseases are pulmonary emphysema caused by the increased elastase activity and liver injury caused by the accumulation of misfolded protein, that is alpha-1 antitrypsin. Thank you.